It's the month for rewriting Carmilla and failing probably 7 readathons. Uh, it's going to be a little sparse for now because I'm on holiday still, and that is a separate vlog, but things should be picking up by Wednesday. They look good.
I thought they might have been a bit dry.
In perfect news, the Penny Dreadful Substack has started, and the one that it's chosen to open with is Carmilla, which is it's amazing. So I was supposed to read the book twice last month and I didn't read it at all, shamefully. This is going to keep me on track. It's in like smaller chunks, so I can read a little bit every time there's an update, every time there's an email. It'll keep me on track. I will also be able to like keep track of little quotes and things that are relevant along the way. I've also brought my first research book for my rewrite through, which is about jazz in Shanghai, and I'm really excited to delve into that. In less great news, I realised that I have 2 books from the library out, and I realised that I also said back in February that I was going to vlog them, which was not my plan, but will need to be done. The first is Minor Feelings by Cathy Park Hong, and I think it's pronounced Ansho by Una Min Kavanagh. And yeah, so that's going to be a wee bit distracting, but hopefully not too much. I'm not going to lie, that is actually really tempting, but October is for vampires. So the book opens, not even the book proper, with this exchange between the author and a kid in Beijing. And the kid asks him where he's from. He says New York, and he asks the kid where he's from, and the kid says China. This isn't even starting the book, and I already hate what this implies for the rest of it. There are other books of research that I have, because Jazz in China is, that opening is so tactless and shallow and obvious, and I don't know if I would trust it even with like just a rote recitation of facts. But also like the working title is 9-2 O Whip. O is in orange. I named it that and then promptly forgot why. And it's not because 1920s, because I haven't decided if it's 1920s or 1930s. But honestly, I think the music hall stuff is probably, in terms of the relationship, the most important. And also, yeah, I do think that's weird, being, that Carmilla is so isolated. But yeah. So on Way Too Little Sleep, I managed to edit and upload my holiday vlog, which is scheduled to go live at 10 o'clock. I haven't subbed it yet. It's been a headache. It took up so much storage space. And now I'm trying to caption a little bit of the holiday book haul while that was happening, and I'm probably going to have to do that, is caption the holiday vlog as well, which I don't usually caption my vlogs because they're usually just like video diaries for me. So yeah, not a lot of Ansho being read, and not a lot of Jazz in China for my Carmilla retelling being read. I think things are just going to have to pick up tomorrow. I did finish Yoma's Land, however, for I think the Black SF-athon. And that, by the way, is not on Goodreads, so it doesn't count towards my 800 book goal. Yay. Here is an outtake while the sand rapidly runs out for the library books. It is unfortunately an outtake, like I said, because it is from Carmilla's perspective. I really like it, but I made the decision that I think the original novel really works from Laura's perspective, excluding the prologue and the superfluous, honestly, Dr. Hazelius bits. Also, as a note, Carmilla is her name. There were originally Chinese names for her and Laura, but I didn't like them, they weren't working. So, Laura has not been renamed, but Carmilla is just Carmilla. And also a quick content warning for like very, very mild but period appropriate racism. The gate was hung with a delicate little placard, its black bold letters spelling out "No Chinese allowed." From under the shadow of her hat, Carmilla glanced over its carefully wrought iron. The park was verdant. When the breeze turned, it was almost as if one were in the country, free of the fetid choke of a city, in this city especially. Within she could see two English women walking arm in arm, giggling, their faces bright with mirth and the indolence of the rich. She pursed her lips and turned away. So something terrible has happened. I have discovered that Audible has free included books that you can just listen to without paying, including a rare book of Cunning Device, which I love the Rivers of London series. I love Cobden Holbrook-Smith's voice, one of my favourite voice actors, and it is witty as ever. It's not like I have 7 audiobooks rapidly running out of time. Yeah. Just 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is one of them. Not like I just got a copy of that. But also they have the stand-in, which I'm gonna start now because I am terrible. Also, KJ Charles has an entire trilogy that is included, and I know how beloved an author she is. So, not tonight, obviously, because I have 2 audiobooks, one which I need to finish today. But October really is like the month of you have all these things that you're planning to do, and then you realise you have even more things that you're planning to do in less time than you thought you had to do it. Exhausting, honestly, but I finished Ansho. I finished Every Deep Drawn Breath. I did the Rivers of London one earlier, so in terms of like you have to finish 6 books a day in order to meet your reading challenge goal, I've done quite well today. Do you ever just feel okay and then you get some food and you come back and it's like death? We call that vamp death because Katya and Alexei, the Lee and Arrow, are killing me, and also because Carmilla, I think we know she kills people from the original novel quite quickly, except for both Laura and the girl before her, I think. And it's kind of the case in 920 Whip that Carmilla isn't a killer. Like, you don't see her as a killer until they go from glittering Shanghai to Laura's home. Because there was something like, I could not shake the idea of like 1920s, 1930s Shanghai as a setting for Carmilla, but there is like such a gorgeous atmosphere of isolation and loneliness in the book that it didn't feel right to not also include that. And so we're having the best of both worlds. But yeah, vamp death, I think I'm gonna just like the slow death that you hear of but you don't see directly. Slow death, but no slow, is gonna be like that. You remember when I got so mad that all the PDFs I'd been downloading to my computer hadn't actually downloaded to my computer because OneDrive had fucking scooped them up, which meant that I couldn't work on any of my whips. And I couldn't save any new notes. Yeah. So the computer decided to just update, and I have lost all the notes that I couldn't save, which were therapy notes, which were whip notes, an actual little snippet, resources for blog posts, you know, that thing that I'm trying to monetize because I can't work. And it's all gone.
You get it in? No. Is it on? No, no. Oh. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I really want to specify both that Nitastic is my friend and also that I ordered the sticker sheet and the banner for Halloween. I just really love my friends. My Word and Kisses blind date with the book is Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. I did give like 5 bullet points of things that are included in the book because there were 5 options and this is book 3. All I remember from it is witches and werewolves and, you know, wolves on the cover. This is going to be vlogged, but it's going to be vlogged for like in the run up to Halloween, so it's going to go up before this vlog. Hopefully on the 20th, which is a short turnaround time given that I also have Minor Feelings to vlog. Minor Feelings, which expires because it's a library loan on the 18th. So we will we will see how this plays with like the 6 readathons I'm trying to do and the book I'm trying to write, and the book that I'm currently writing and posting. Wow, this month. In incredibly exciting news, it's an anniversary for the words, so I have 30 days of subscription for free. Perfect for Carmilla, which I was just about to start. Well, just. I'm going to reset my total word counts, so I kind of, you know, want to catch it as it was. But this is really good. This is better than I thought.
If you do it inside.
I was so confused when I saw these in IKEA, just sitting out in a little box. But then I looked over and I saw like a tree, an actual plant growing out of not this, but another kind of fruit or gourd or vegetable. And I realised, oh, so that's what this is. And I don't know what this little baby is, but I am very much looking forward to finding out. So I have a love-hate relationship with alphas in that I do like heroes who are in control and take charge and also are a little bit possessive, but also I hate almost every alpha I've read. So this decision to make the alpha a voice in this guy's head that he's actively fighting against is really interesting to me. I didn't expect such a surprise right off the bat, and I like it. At least I like where it's going. I do like when you get the perspective of everyone who is involved in the romance. Not the best first impression of our heroine. Just holding this guy's arm, being like, oh, he's so muscly. He's so muscly because you just said he's choking the life out of this dude. Manslaughter currently taking place. A little like, priorities. Yeah, I don't like her. You know what's just so funny is if you go back through my videos, you will find one where I accidentally gave you a down the top shot. And I didn't care because it doesn't matter. But I'm not going to read you any of what I wrote this morning for Carmilla because it's that bad. That is actually shameful. Good afternoon. On my way to the library, and hopefully, as I said, we are going to be able to get an extension on Minor Feelings.
It can shrink and it can go. But you've got the fuzzy one. I like the green. I only looked at the silver because that's what
You didn't go through the pictures?
I did.
Okay, so some thoughts, some concerns. I finished Evie's chapter, finished chapter 2. The fact that the guy who was choked out, nearly strangled to death, as the text keeps reminding us, is irregular makes it worse. I'm not going to pretend that they're friends because the text doesn't, give us that, but this is someone you know, and you still got more distracted by a guy's muscles and the fact that he was, you keep saying, like, strangled to death, strangled nearly to death. At the very least, it was an assault, and you cared more about some guy's muscles than the assault of a guy that you know. Yeah. Interesting in terms of world building. The Grimms are, of course, appealing to me because I am me. We met one in Mateo's chapter, and I'm pretty confident he's going to get his own book, which is both very intriguing and kind of disappointing. To me, it just felt very, oh, this is like a signpost in neon above this guy. So we've learned about Grimms and siphons and nulls and a case that Evie worked on before, and all of it was so unnatural. It was very info dumpy. It was very, yeah, it broke up the narrative in a way that just felt like, here is information that I need you to have. And there were a few bits here and there where I was like, immediately in my head I was like, I know a way you could have done this more smoothly, could have integrated it more naturally. So Her Majesty's Royal Coven was going to end in like tomorrow, and there was no way that I was going to get like 9.5 hours done in that time. I gave it back and I reserved my place for it to come back. It's going to be next year, but that's fine. I started The Future Earth, and that wasn't 9 hours as said, it's just over 6 hours. But we've also had a problem with that, which is I'm almost 30 minutes in, and I want to be clear, less than 30 minutes in, but all it is so far is a list of climate emergency disasters and the ways it is affecting people. And I don't necessarily want to begrudge at that, but I've also been watching Dan Olsen's Contrepreneurs video, and I'm not saying that this is a con, but there was an example of a stressed college student trying to hit a deadline and a word count, and a thing you can do in that is definitions. Keep defining words and you will hit that word count. There are 47 minutes left in this chapter. You cannot just give me 47 more minutes. 74, I think. 74 minutes, I think, in this chapter in its entirety, and I cannot listen to that many disasters and people's lives ruined without a reason. It is like a book equivalent of doom scrolling, and it's not helpful. I can kind of logic it out as trying to convey the sheer scope of this, but for me that doesn't work. So this is my current project, A Scarf for Gran, and these are the two that I got yesterday. They're both from the West Yorkshire Spinners, and there was less than a full shelving unit that was just 100% wool, which, okay. This is going to be a scarf for Papa, and I don't know what this is going to be yet, but it's for me. Also, this arrived today. I ordered it back in the start of September, and it's finally arrived. 5 days of my ass, but it's here now, and it's lovely. Past the 50-page mark, and I am still interested in this book and its plot and where it's going, and it is also getting worse. I'm going to mention 3 things, and I want to be clear that these 3 things are fine in isolation. The only reason that they're pinging out to me is because they're all in the same book, and I think all within 30 pages. I love that Evie is a comic books nerd, but I only came out of this scene knowing that she loves Wolverine, Deadpool, and she likes these specific issues or runs. It's you've told me an aspect of her personality, and I've come out of this scene knowing nothing about her personality. Even if you're just writing that scene for fans of these specific comic books, someone who isn't should still come out knowing something about her. 2 is the perspective switches between the heroine and hero, which are fine until you get to world building. And like I said, I love Siphon's, Knowles, Grimm's really interesting stuff that you're doing here. And then you get to the info dumps, both about the world and about other characters. That's not their voices. I've spent 2 chapters each with them, and that's not their voices. Those are just info dumps. You could have made it more seamless. And 3rd is the one thing we know about Jules is that she's a hardline and she sets down her rules, and everything is just her. Everything with her is just her being no, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying she's a pushover, I'm just saying this is seeing the foundations of a building. You can tell this is all in service of the romance, because it does not want Jules to be an antagonist or an obstacle at the moment, and it just feels like I'm seeing something that I shouldn't be seeing. everything I said about not liking Carmilla, I went back and I made a project file. I said 20,000 words. That's completely up in the air. I pulled that from nowhere. I have 620 words of a new version, and I love it. Also, that is talking about Carmilla. I also did most of, if not all of, the Lee and the Narrow October 19 on the 19th, and also a paragraph and a half of October 20th. So it's been a day. I stand by what I said, that I like the concept of Matteo and the wolf being separate, and I wish I were not subjected to it. You will be sorry if that... Torch off, please.
That's off.
So we've had no Wi-Fi for half of yesterday and almost none the day before. It's finally back, which means I am so far behind in everything. The thing I will say for just now is the Wolf Gone Wild vlog is cancelled. The clips will have just been put into this one. And if I never talk about it again, I never talk about it again. So you'll never guess who just managed to finally figure out how to get the library loans on my computer. I remain hesitant about this book, apprehensive even because of that opening, but page 81 is part 2, which deals with modern China. So while I will still at least skim the rest of it so I can have another book finished for my reading challenge, I don't need to pore over a lot. Oh, that's upside down. It doesn't tell you. Review was posted several sites, www Wednesday, and today's chapter of the Lee and the Narrow, which admittedly was just like a paragraph and a bit, but I still have like 500 words to do today, and both Guardians of Byzantium, which is for the next Love Book tours, and Jazz in China to start, which, yeah, so I've actually had to do like a daily planner thing, and I'm not looking forward to that. There's so much left to do, and all I want to do is sleep. At this point, it's pretty obvious that I'm not going to get a full draft of Carmilla done. So, I mean, to be fair, I have like broad strokes for like important scenes, and I'm gonna just kind of focus on that and set out some like tenuous like threads to try and connect them. But yeah, we're not even gonna try for the full thing now. Fun fact though, because it is Wednesday, I did have like an incorrect quote scheduled for a man called Christian Stewart, who is like our token white guy. And it was, are you telling me a chicken fried this rice? My next Love Book Tour review is for The Guardians of Byzantium by Justin Isaacs. It is coming out around the 20th of November. I don't know too much about the Byzantine Empire, but I am very interested. I have plenty of time to research, and there are historical notes at the back. For the Words has upgraded itself, and that's great, but like unfortunately, happy as I am for them, I couldn't access the "you forgot your password" thing, so I couldn't get onto the site today. And like, this is a loyalty thing because I joined like 4 or 5 years ago, and so like it's no skin off my back because I'm not paying for the service, but it is a little frustrating to not be able to get in. And if that doesn't change tomorrow, then I'm just gonna go straight for Word. I did return The Weight of Blood because, Halloween, someone's gonna really enjoy reading it over that period of time. It did pick up for me after chapter 1. It was less explicit on the page abuse, and I did get into the rhythm of it, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. I am back on the reserve list, so I might be able to pick it up next month. For now, I'm going to keep going with Timekeeper, and hopefully before the month is out, I will also get to Nana, which everyone has been talking about for Black Readathon, and I'm excited about. Big Twitter news today, and I have to add to it, unfortunately, I've lost a bookmark, and it was a really important one too. The scene that I'm doing is one where Laura, we're going to just call her Laura, meets Carmilla. There were 3 important women in Carmilla for our purposes: Carmilla, Laura, and the girl she was going to make friends with, but, was the previous victim. Here her name is Hui Yin. She is Laura's first friend in the city. She is, taking her to these parties, trying to introduce her, trying to, bring her up to modern standards. And she basically takes her to a party and abandons her for networking purposes. And so Laura is trying to hide, trying to find a wall somewhere that she can just be very unobtrusive. And through the crowd, she sees Carmilla. This is the first time you see her. And the thread was on Fortuny. It was on a very specific Fortuny dress and a very specific silk dress. It was the height of luxury. And even to this day, you can go to the website, you can see the dress. It's custom, it's haute couture. There is no price tag on it, and I think the thread detailed that even if you had the money for one of these dresses, it was the company's discretion whether they made one for you or not. That is the kind of luxury that we're talking about. And so I wanted that to be how you first see Carmilla. And I can do the research myself, of course, but it's just frustrating because that slows everything down again.
Tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Munchie box.
Okay.
No into the car? First setting off the car alarm and now this. Holy shit, the thread's still there. I just was an idiot and didn't bookmark it. As per Fortuny's own website, distribution in America didn't start until 1927, which gave me a little bit of a panic because I still haven't decided 1920s or 1930s. But the dress itself, 1907. Also, I'm not saying that Carmilla has any ties to America, at least not yet. But I also don't see her not having experience there. Because of the book, there are ties to Europe, but she is primarily associated with England. So the first time in years I have specifically asked for use of the Hoover, and it swallowed a little bag of lavender. So my room smells pretty nice, and we're going to hope that it hasn't broken. Really not sure when fireworks became a Halloween thing, but fuck that.
Just feeling for everything, just dairy. Is the guests around? Wait for her.
Okay. I'm going to be so lucky if these don't end up on the floor. No, it's fine. They're just sliding a lot. Just gotta finish this first.